We are now living in the Anthropocene, a geological period of time in which humans are the primary force shaping the surface of the Earth. But what about our oceans that cover 71% of our planet, the heart and lifeline of our world's biodiversity and human society? We once thought of them as so vast and so deep that our actions would simply be absorbed by the blue. But we were wrong. Even at the furthest point of the ocean, our civilization has left its mark. Overfishing and pollution are only some of the human problems impacting marine life around the globe. The sea is no longer pristine and untouched. It's a human sea. It's the Anthroposea. Most of the human challenges our global oceans face are beneath the surface. They are invisible to the majority of our population. As a diver, I have access to a part of the world and to wildlife so few get to see. And that access comes with great responsibility. Diving is not just my greatest passion, it is the most important tool I have to make a difference. My name is Arzucan Askin, and I'm a marine conservation scientist, political ecologist, and the 2021 European Rolex Scholar of the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society. My dream is to lead highly specialized research expeditions that use the power of sailing and technical diving to study the impacts of human activities on marine life in remote locations. Supported by the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society and Rolex, I embarked on a 9-month journey to take the steps needed to turn this dream into reality. During this time, I traveled to 9 countries, conducted over 350 dives, in temperatures ranging from 0 to 32 degrees Celsius, obtained 27 qualifications, and worked with over 40 underwater partners from the equator all the way to the Arctic Circle. And along the way, I had 3 objectives. First, to develop the communication skills required to bring back stories from the sea and inspire positive action. Second, to become a human Swiss Army knife underwater and be able to dive a variety of equipment configurations in different environmental conditions. And third, to use these skills to conduct research work and scientific exploration in the future. To achieve these objectives, I had to learn from some of the best in the field, and so the journey began. Science has the power to change the future of the oceans, but without a way to share that wealth of knowledge with people, its hands are tied. In order to make impact as a scientist, I had to learn one of the most effective communication tools we have: the art of storytelling underwater. Learning from 6 trailblazing underwater creatives, I built my skill set as a voice for the ocean and science communicator. Award-winning photographers and judges Alex Mussett and Saeed Rashid launched me into the world of underwater photography. Developing these skills further, Matt Portiers and the storytellers behind Ocean Culture Live coached me through the challenge of capturing emotions underwater. The brilliant minds running Shark Bay Films and Crowd Creative shared their knowledge with me on editing and started my passion for aerial videography using drones. As pre-film and television, the media company providing the state-of-the-art camera equipment for productions like BBC Blue Planet qualified me to put together underwater cinema cameras. And former Sea Legacy cameraman Karl Röpke let me have a play with one of them in the field to capture the human elements of our global oceans that are hidden in plain sight. From politically contested reefs and dump sites to wrecks as resting reminders of our troubled past, the Anthroposea was all around me during my scholarship months. Even in remote corners of the Arctic, recovering populations of walrus, dwindling numbers of polar bears, and the crumbling remnants of old whaling stations served as powerful reminders of our broken relationship with the ocean. I took on my biggest challenge to date by joining Captain Andreas Beheide for the Baba Arctic Sense expedition. As one leg of a 6,000 nautical mile journey, we sailed the Januar Sunfast 37 beyond 80 degrees north all the way to the ice pack around the North Pole. We pushed as far north as we could until the density of sea ice prevented us from going further. It was not an easy feat. Along the way, we deployed towed hydrophone arrays to conduct acoustic monitoring and used ladder-equipped drones to collect vital data on the sentinels of our oceans, blue whales. Aside from honing my skippering skills in uncharted waters full of moving sea ice, it was a voyage that plunged me into the deep end. I learned how to set up dive operations in difficult conditions off the back of a small sailing boat in the Arctic Circle. My life changed after that voyage. I knew I wanted to dive longer and deeper. To do so, I first had to learn how to confidently dive a variety of equipment configurations across all environmental conditions, and to do so while handling scientific equipment, camera gear, and boats. Instructors from 15 dive operators and 7 training organizations supported me in achieving this goal. In Dubai, 5-time world champion freediver Natalia Jarkova taught me how to master my breath hold and reach 20 meters using only my lungs in the world's deepest pool. It was an absolutely exhilarating feeling and a kind of freedom I'd never known before in that way. Deep wreck explorers Mark Powell from DiveTech UK and Richard Walker from GUE gave me the strong foundations needed to become a technical diver. Under instruction from Bristol Channel Diving Services, the same team responsible for BBC Productions dive safety, I became an HSE Class 4 commercial diver. Red Sea Diving Safaris Hassam Abdelaziz taught me how to dive using side mount configurations. Then, cave explorer Christina Zanato introduced me to the hidden world of caves, helping to build my skill set further. My mind enjoyed the meticulous preparation and planning that went into cave diving, and above all, I fell in love with the feeling of being hugged by rocks in the darkness underwater. After Aaron Angramson from Dirty Dozen Expeditions introduced me to rebreathers, I went to Indonesia, where Mark Crane from Tech Deep Asia completed my transition into the world of technical submersion. We started with the use of advanced nitrox and stages for decompression diving. I then also became an advanced gas blender and O2 service technician. And lastly, I had the opportunity to learn hands-on about different rebreather units. In the end, I left his dive center as a fully qualified extended-range Trimix CCR diver, ready to conduct hour-long dives in deeper waters. There are no words to describe the joy of diving silently and without bubbles. In total, I spent over 300 hours underwater during my scholarship. Time that was incredibly valuable for my ability to use diving as a critical tool to study marine life. Specifically, I had my eyes set on the subclass of species that are the true symbol of the Anthroposea: sharks. No animals capture the paradox of human-ocean relationships in the same way sharks do. Out of all the species in the ocean, they have had the largest impact on humanity. And whether we realize it or not, they touch almost every aspect of our lives. They're the villains in our media and fuel the multi-million-dollar entertainment industry. While most people fear them, a small minority of passionate individuals celebrates them as the evolutionary masterpieces they truly are. They provide inspiration for engineering and for groundbreaking technological inventions. We wear them as jewelry and art. Shark-derived ingredients are in our cosmetics and on our skin. They're used to advance human medicine, both in traditional practices and modern biomedical research. And when caught as bycatch, they are often ground into fish meal to be used in gardens as fertilizer. As victims of targeted fishing and illegal wildlife trafficking, sharks highlight the gaps in our legal system, particularly on the high seas. Today, more than 200 countries, including European ones, are importing and exporting shark and ray meat for a global trade that is valued at $2.6 billion. 100 million sharks alone are killed annually for their fins and meat. Consuming them is a symbol of status and wealth in Asia, but one of poverty in the Caribbean. And while they're considered nothing but mere fish stock in some parts of the world, they are seen as a spectacle for tourists in others. The global shark diving industry generates $314 million per year, directly supporting over 10,000 jobs. Human lives and livelihoods are entangled with the existence of sharks. To better understand the complexities of human-shark relationships across the world, I traveled to the Red Sea, Caribbean, and Indian Ocean. Along the way, I reached out to some of the world's leading shark and ray experts to highlight the conservation lessons we can draw from places where sharks are abundant. In total, I supported field research from 13 scientific partners during my scholarship year. In Egypt, I observed divers' interactions with oceanic whitetip sharks and learned about the challenges of managing dive sites frequented by liveaboards. As part of the Maldives whale shark research program, I spent several weeks conducting scientific surveys in the South Ari Atoll Marine Protected Area, home to the world's only known year-long aggregation of whale sharks. During my time there, I also had the opportunity to build on the interdisciplinary research I spearheaded for my thesis with the Oxford University Seascape Ecology Lab. In the spirit of the Anthroposea, my work examined the impact of tourism on whale sharks and the links between local livelihoods and the health of these gentle giants. Next, I travelled to the island of Formula in the deep south of the Maldives. Known as Shark Island among locals, it is home to a resident population of tiger sharks as well as the rare and endangered thresher shark, just a stone's throw away from the local harbour. Joining the team from Pelagic Divers, I spent several weeks diving with these beautiful predators and discovering how the Maldives has successfully transitioned from a shark fishing nation in the past to one of the world's prime examples for coexistence with these animals. Afterwards, I joined shark conservationist Christina Zanato in the Bahamas to work closely with her shiver of Caribbean reef sharks and support ongoing monitoring of their growth rates using laser photogrammetry. We also spent time at Tiger Beach, examining the close interactions between shark feeders, tourists, and tiger sharks. While there, I also had the opportunity to connect with the Bimini Shark Lab and later join the Shark Hour as a speaker, sharing insights from my work on sharks in the Anthropocene. And by chance, my last scientific project led me back to Formula, which revealed itself to not only be home to multiple shark species, but to also witness a globally significant seasonal migration of endangered oceanic manta rays. I joined the team behind Manta Trust to deploy reef monitoring systems, collect vital photo ID data, and prepare for the first ever tagging mission of oceanic manta rays in the Maldives. I then also extended my stay on the island to meet up with local shark diving legend Ahmed Nasheed, known as Lonu among locals. During my time with his team at Shark Island Dive, I became a tiger shark guide and started to collect baseline data on the tiger shark and thresher shark populations during dives. A recurring theme became apparent throughout all of these experiences. Paradoxically, even in places where sharks and rays are protected, they are still bearing the grave consequences of the Anthropocene. "70% of the whale sharks in my thesis dataset from the Maldives had sustained at least one anthropogenic injury, ranging from small cuts all the way to severe lacerations from collisions with tourist vessels. The tourism industry was harming the very species it relied on, and all of this was happening within a marine protected area. On the other side of the globe, I watched Christina Zanato work tirelessly to remove dozens of hooks embedded in Caribbean reef sharks, hooks left behind by sports fishermen. The Bahamas' most famous shark dive site, Tiger Beach, might soon lose its most iconic attraction to climate change. Scientists from the University of Miami have discovered that tiger sharks are migrating further north as sea temperatures are increasing. And when they leave Bahamian waters, they become vulnerable to industrial fisheries. Protecting migratory species that leave sanctuaries is notoriously difficult, and it's a challenge that's also evident with the shark's greater cousins, mobulas and manta rays. While they might be protected in the Maldives, their movement range places them in close proximity to one of the world's largest oceanic manta fisheries in neighbouring Sri Lanka. During my time with the Manta Trust, I spent hours searching for matches between the 700 live individuals that we have identified in the Maldives and the dead ones that had been landed by Sri Lankan fishing vessels. For the sharks of Formula, a similar threat exists. Tiger sharks are capable of long-distance migrations across entire ocean basins, and the distance between the Maldives and Indonesia is only less than a fifth of the longest tiger shark migration recorded to date. But Indonesia is home to one of the world's largest targeted shark fisheries. Very little is known about the tiger shark populations in the Indian Ocean, and even less knowledge exists on the elusive pelagic thresher shark globally. All signs point to the island of Formula being a globally significant shark hotspot. Yet, to date, no coordinated research effort has been dedicated to the sharks of this island. And so, I co-founded the Formula Shark Research Program together with underwater photographer John O'Allen and local shark conservationist Hamna Hussain and Basit Muhammad. Supported by the local island council, our aim is to conduct collaborative long-term scientific monitoring of the shark populations around the island. Dive centers currently report over 180 individual tiger sharks, which would make the island home to one of the world's largest identified populations of these apex predators. We also estimate that about a sixth of the female tiger sharks sighted during our dives are pregnant, and we've recorded that over 40% of the sharks have sustained anthropogenic injuries. And while on average 6 tiger sharks can be met in shallow waters at the entrance of the island's harbour, several endangered pelagic thresher sharks frequent a cleaning station at 40 meters on the northern side of the island. Schooling hammerhead sharks are also seen passing by in the winter season. Oceanic whitetips, on the other hand, like to surprise divers occasionally, as do the pods of whales that come by. The opportunities for diving and research in the waters around the island are extensive. And so, looking back on my scholarship year, thanks to Rolex and the Our World Underwater Scholarship Society, my dream is beginning to turn into reality. And while we don't have a scientifically equipped sailing vessel yet, we do have Maldivian donis. Using the skills I gained during my scholarship year, diving will be our most vital tool to conduct the world's first comprehensive long-term studies on the sharks around Formula. We will begin with assessments of injuries in adult tiger sharks, and then get up closer with them to trial contactless ultrasound technologies and examine the pregnant females. Using rebreathers, we also plan to spend some time at depth with pelagic threshers and gather critical data on the severely understudied endangered species. It's a humbling opportunity when remembering that since 1970, we have lost 71% of our global oceanic sharks, pushing many species like thresher sharks closer to extinction. And amid these statistics, the Indian Ocean stands out as the epicenter of megafauna loss. And in the middle of it is Formula, a beacon of hope for the conservation of our world's apex predators. By empowering me as a scientist and supporting my journey as a technical diver, the scholarship has changed the course of my life. The future is full of possibilities and solutions for the Anthroposea, and I cannot wait to take you along on this next journey. It will surely be one filled with research, conservation, and scientific exploration using technical diving. More sharks, deeper dives, and new horizons await.